Hello and welcome to Project Art Now. First of all, I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart, as the channel has now surpassed the 500 subscribers and I cannot express how happy I am. Okay, so on this video, I want to talk about the suspension of disbelief and how can it affect our writing. Please share your thoughts on this topic on the comment section. Now, is it time to announce the manga of the week, and it's Hunter x Hunter. Hope you like this drawing of Killua with Alluka. As always, you can get the manga of the week via the link of the description. And while you're there, follow me on my social media, take a look at my store where you can get lots of stuff with cool designs. Also, get a copy of my book, The Project Sare. Let's begin. What is suspension of disbelief? Is the intentional avoidance of critical thinking or logic in examining something unreal or impossible in reality, such as a work of speculative fiction, in order to believe it for the sake of the enjoyment. Aristotle first explored the idea of the concept in its relation to the principles of theater. The audience ignores the unreality of fiction in order to experience catharsis. And yes, I did get the definition from Wikipedia, word by word. But how far can we get before it's too far anyway? Well, as far as we want. For it, I have two self-imposed rules. Feel free to either follow them or ignore them. The first one is the rule of sense within the fiction. What I mean with this is that it doesn't matter how many laws of physics or how historical inaccurate your story is, as long as it makes sense within the world that you created. For example, let's say you created a story set in ancient Rome, where the protagonist is a gladiator who, instead of fighting with a short sword, uses a bazooka. Now, I'm not a historian, but I'm sure that would be wrong. But could you get away with it by simply saying it's a work of fiction? I don't think so. It has to make sense within the reality of what it has established on the story. One that both fails and success at this is Mulan, the live-action version. Considering the Rouran army and Xiangyang, the former could run up walls and the later could turn herself into birds. Now, those two things are impossible. However, all of the Xiangyang abilities make sense within the story, as it is explained that she had magic powers. But as far as the Rouran army, there's no reason to believe they can run up in walls, and yet they do. Ironically, the powers of Xiangyang are far more unrealistic, but again, it makes sense within the movie. Before I tell about my second self-imposed rule, there's another rule I need to mention, and that's the rule of cool. Now, this basically means that if something is cool enough, it gets a free pass. Problem is that cool is kind of subjective. For example, let's get back to the gladiator who uses a bazooka. Well, that's cool, right? But is it cool enough for everyone to ignore the inaccuracy that implies? And so, here is my second rule. Do not use the rule of cool as an excuse. What it means is cool doesn't mean it shouldn't make sense. So, a gladiator in ancient Rome with a bazooka, cool, sure, but does it make sense? Not even a little, unless you make it make sense yourself. A wonderful example, coincidentally, is Hunter x Hunter. The amount of absurdity that happens there, it's, well, absurd. And yet, it makes sense. I mean, bungee gum is completely unrealistic in our world, but in the world of Hunter x Hunter, it works. By the way, did you know that bungee gum has the properties of both rubber and gum? Another thing to consider regarding the suspension of disbelief is that when explaining why things are the way they are, it's not necessary to go over the top. Generally speaking, something simple should suffice. For example, how could a gladiator get a bazooka in ancient Rome? There's always time travel shenanigans, or it could be an alternative story set in a world where the Roman Empire had access to modern technology, or maybe you could come with something else. Also, sometimes no explanation is better than an explanation. For example, do they explain how they do half the stuff they do in the Fast and Furious movies? No, they simply do them, and it works. Sure, they stunts break the laws of physics, well, technically the ones in our world, but within the world of Fast and Furious, no laws are broken. Yes, they break countless laws, but you know what I mean. Okay, so the rules I mentioned earlier are intended to help me expand my creativities in ways that I can create unbelievable words believable. And again, you don't have to follow them for your own writing. I'm just sharing a system that works for me, and hey, it could also work for you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video had value for you, and that you'll be back next week. Bye bye!